This program is brought to you by Telecom Limited and Colgate.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of House and Home. I'm your host Daisy, and I'm so pleased to be back again because of last week's show I was unable. Like what Jordan said, I was under the weather and was not able to be a part of the show. But I'm back again, and thanks to Jordan for stepping in for me. Yes, so how was your weekend? Mine was okay, recovering from the flu and cold, but I'm back on my feet and back with you all. I hope you all had a restful and a very pleasant weekend as well. Coming up on our show, we get to feature a very inspiring and a purpose-driven woman who gets to share with us her journey and her experience in setting up what she thought and still thinks is influential and is of benefit to her community, and that can be for the rest of the country. We have a cancer survivor which we get to feature. We also have our weekly handy tips, and to end our show is a DIY project where we get to be shown how to crochet a simple granny square placemat. Hi, we're happy to be here at the nature park under the scorching sun, but we're just excited that we are among the green environment here where the leaves are all green, even though Port Moresby is so hot and it's so dry. But here at the Port Moresby Nature Park, you can find certain places where you can get away from the heat of the sun and just enjoy this. So I'm happy to be here with Luann, and she's going to share with us what she has been doing for her community back in New Ireland and how this can be of benefit to the rest of Papua New Guinea. So here is Luann, and she'll tell us who she is, where she's from, and more to what she's doing. Thank you, Luann.
Hi, House and Home, and hi, Daisy. It's great to be here on this beautiful day in Nature Park, and I'm so blessed to be here on this show to just share some of my experiences in establishing the first ever e-library for the whole of New Ireland province. So e-library is basically electronic library, or you could say sometimes digital library, and it's basically a collection of digital resources that's made available for students and individuals to go and access. The initial idea of establishing a library back in my home village came from my father. So he attended the Lemeris Primary School, and growing up he was unfortunate to be in a school that had no library. So he saw the value of books, and he always wanted to read books. And my dad passed on some years back, and I wanted to fulfill his legacy by completing what he started. And so I am part of an initiative of the Australian government called the Women Leading and Influencing program of the Department of Foreign Affairs Trade for Australia Awards, and it's called Women Leading and Influencing. And in this program, we are encouraged to go back into the community and do something for our community. And so with my initiative of the e-library initiative, I had to go back home, and through the grant, the WLI grant, I was able to initiate this e-library back home. I wanted to give back to the community, and I wanted the community to take ownership of it. So I involved a lot of my family. I involved the school, the Lemeris Primary School, and the teachers, and also all the youths around the community. And I wanted them to take part of this project because I wanted them to take that ownership of the initiative. And so my head carpenter, I have a lot of people that, even though I started the initiative, I had a lot of people behind me supporting me and moving the project forward. And one of those special people was my project manager, Miss Wendy Rayalokuk, and also the head carpenter, Kelly Jeffrey. So what they did was, I only gave them a little bit amount of money, about 2,000 kina, to renovate an old classroom into the new e-library classroom. And so with the limited resources and money that they had, the community took ownership. And so the head carpenter, when he was short with a timber or a shelf or a louver frame, he went to the community and the villages and the houses in the village and said, okay, you know what, that fits my shelf. Can I have that timber? And so the people in the house, or one of my house line, they got up and they said, okay, fine. So they took it out of their homes. They took the louver blades out. They took the timber or the palang that the head carpenter wanted and gave it to the library. So he used that from the houses and used it for the library. Yeah. So that's how the community contributed. So it wasn't just their timber and their louver frames. It was also their pockets, their money, and their paint, and their cacao and their kumu in the garden, and you know, so they all came together in this project, and there was so much unity, and that was so fulfilling. Yeah, I felt so blessed. I started actual groundworks in July this year, 2023, and we officially launched the opening on the 16th of October, 2023, so just a week ago. Yeah, so I'm going to be sharing about a book by Robert Kiyosaki. I guess most of you would have heard of the name, but he published his first book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah, so Cash Flow Quadrant is a sequel to Rich Dad Poor Dad, and in this book, so Robert Kiyosaki emphasizes in this book the benefit and the importance of leveraging from money, skills, and time to creating a passive income, and then you will have more control over your financial future. Yeah, so that book is all about that. So a business acumen sort of like mind frame. But in this book, he categorizes individuals into 4 different categories according to their source of income. And so we have 4 quadrants. One is the employees, then we have the self-employed, then we have the business owners, and then we have the investors. So what Robert Kiyosaki does is that he tries to, so the quadrant is like this, and he tries to encourage you from being in the left-hand part of the quadrant, which is the employee and the self-employed, towards the right-hand part of the quadrant, which is a business owner and an investor. And so the latter being, you have the most financial benefit of being an investor. And so it's very educational and informative, especially, and I would encourage that book for all market vendors. I'm a market vendor, that's my side hustle. And so I'm a market mama on the table. I sell buai, betel nut, but this book is so inspiring because it makes me think outside of the box into a more progressive type of business plan. And so just the thing about this book is that it's a non-fiction, so it's not a fictional book. It's a non-fiction book, and it teaches you how to develop and scale up your business, to learn from the book. I guess a lot of good books that I find are in the second hands. So you'll be lucky enough to go and find them in the second hands. And the Christian bookshops as well. I guess those are the only places that we can actually get good books from, apart from ordering them online. Yeah. Thank you, Daisy, and thank you all for watching House and Home.
I cannot find the words to thank Luan Ezekiel Bole enough for her time and sharing this journey with us. If you are one person or who is a parent who loves reading, please encourage your children and pass on that habit of reading to your children, because it will help them in the long run. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, we get to hear what Lenny over at Paradise Private Hospital share her journey about how she has survived cancer. She is a survivor. Welcome back. You're watching House and Home, and I'm Daisy, your host. We now have Lenny from Paradise Private Hospital, who works in the radiology department as well, will share her story and her journey as a cancer survivor. Cancer is a killer, but we now get to hear how she survived and her encouragement to the rest of Papua New Guinea and to you to take care of yourself and your family. Here is Lenny and her story.
Thank you so much. I'm a survivor of cervical cancer. I was surprised that in 2014, around August 25, after all the work that was done in the office, I went to use the loo and I was surprised that I saw a pool of blood. And like, it was unbearable because the blood was too much with clots, so I started feeling dizzy. And when I called over to my colleague, he said, oh, you have to call the doctor. He called Dr. Lenturut, our radiologist here, and she said, oh, just tell her to go to the emergency at Paradise Hospital. So I was taken to our emergency unit. From there, they checked me and then they referred me to POMGen emergency. Okay, they got my vitals and everything, and they told me you have to go to the gynae clinic on the other side. So on Monday, I was sent to the clinic, gynae, and the doctors checked me. Prof. Moore was my doctor, the late Prof. Moore. After they checked me, I think they found out there were so many lesions on the cervical area, so they told me to get rid of my uterus, to do a hysterectomy. So I was booked for 10th of December 2014. So they sent me home and I waited for the 10th of December that I will admit on the 9th of December and get the hysterectomy done on the 10th of December. But in the middle of on the way, it hit me again on November the 16th. I was in a pool of blood again at home. So they rushed me to emergency. From emergency, I ended up at Ward 9, at the mother's ward at Ward 9. So I was there for the whole month, from November 16th to December 16th. So during my journey, the doctors were helping me with transfusion of blood, but every time they put the blood into me, it was like going out again. So I was going through that for the whole month, from 16 November to 16 December, after I got operated. Okay, the reason for removing my uterus was because they told me I had lesions, and also Prof told me that the uterus has come off the wall or something, like it was there. There's a gap there, so that's why I have to bleed every time. If the bleeding was going to come, it has to come. So to save all that, they have to get rid of the uterus so that I can stop bleeding. My reaction was I already had 5 children, so I mean, it's good. They have to just get rid of it because I don't want to stay and bleed and bleed and bleed for the rest of my life. So to my surprise, they were telling me they told me, come back 2 weeks' time. When I came back, they said, oh, the report's not here. So I asked the doctor, is there something wrong? And Prof. Moore told me, no, we did send some samples of your uterus to the lab to get it tested because we saw something that was not right. So I kept on coming, but the report was never brought up to the gynae clinic on the other side, so I had to go myself to the lab. So I went down there, checked my report, and it was in the filed away and didn't bring up to the gynae clinic. So I asked the girls to give me the report, and they said, no, we have to take it with you. So they escorted me with my report back to the gynae clinic. So the next morning I came, Prof was there. He got my report and he was looking at it and nodding his head, and I said, oh, something must be wrong. So like I knew something was happening, so I told him straight, what stage am I? And he told me it was first stage, cervical cancer. So I said, oh, okay. I mean, I just took it as it came because God was there with me. So he told me Singapore, and I said I have to raise funds. So he said, okay, what about Lay? At the time we had the machine there, so it was good. So I said, okay, but I don't have any relatives there. So he told me, okay, then your husband? I said, yeah, my husband's nephew is there. He teaches at Unitech. So I went across. He sent me over to Lay on 8th of March 2015. So I went through my radiotherapy for 3 months in Lay. There was a lot of mothers there too, but some didn't make it. So I was lucky, I was the fortunate one. And besides, I was first stage, so it was good for me. Oh, the pain was unbearable. I mean, the heat especially. So I have to go through all the heat, and it's like it's every day from Monday to Friday. When Dr. Niblet was around, he used to do it from Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But the new doctor, Dr. Deepak, he used to do it every day from Monday to Friday. So I go for my treatment every Monday to Friday. And it was unbearable. The heat was always there with me. Every time I was on the table, I'm connected with my God. Ladies are going through this, they have to they need supportive of the family. But what I went through was different because I just shut my family out. I mean, I never thought that I had a family, because I thought if I think too much of them and what are they eating and how are they going to school and their lunch and all that, I mean, I just shut the whole thing out. I don't want to think of my family, that I had a family. I was connected with me, my God, and my treatment. I mean, we all don't know that we'll be having cancer, because I didn't know too. So the moment they have to be going and checking themselves at the clinic to know where the status are. So it's good to check every 2 years to see where you are. Otherwise you'll be surprised and be like me. So I think it's good the women check, and their husbands and family should be supportive.
Thank you, Lenny, for your story. I know how painful it is, and yes, of course, I was fighting back tears to not show that I was teary, but her story did hit hard, and I know many Papua New Guineans have lost your loved ones to cancer. Cervical cancer is the second largest killer, dreadful disease in our country. Yet, we have to take care of ourselves because prevention is better than cure. There was Lenny and her brave story, her encouragement and her confidence to come on House and Home and share with us. We'll take another quick break, and when we return, we'll learn a few handy tips on how we can make laundry fun and easy.
House and Home Handy Tips with Softland, fragrance of a mother's love.
Well, with these handy tips, laundry detergents have become a household item. And because they have been made an everyday household item, it became pricey in your shops. So, I'd like to show us all how you can use Softland, your fabric softener, wisely during laundry time. Simply, you cut strips of sponges that you use to wash your dishes or plates. You cut the sponges into strips of 4, soak them in the Softland, let them dry out, and you can use every strip when you get to do your laundry. Now, that is one way you can cut costs when you go shopping and save up so you can put that money you're saving into buying something else for you or your family.
House and Home Handy Tips with Soft Lamb, fragrance of a mother's love.
I know in the scorching heat of the sun and I'm already all sweaty, but with the handy tip that we've just learned, I know it's come a long way where soft tanner has become expensive in the shops. But with these handy tips, you can now save up and spend on other things that you get to spend that money on. So with this handy tip, you now can have your soft land preserved in with sponges so you can use later on. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we get to be shown how to crochet a simple yet fast granny square placemat. So today, I'll be teaching everyone, our viewers, how to make a simple yet quick tutorial on how to make a crocheted granny square coaster. And in this quick and simple granny square, you will need a yarn, or what is known as a wool, a crocheting or knitting hook, and a scissors. With crocheting your granny square, as per the name, it is simply in a shape of a square. So to start off with, you will have to do a chain. If you are one who knows how to crochet, there is different types of starting off your project or the coaster. For me, the simplest way is to begin with a slip knot. Let's do this together. So you take the tip or the tail of your wool, securely holding it with your pointer, your ringman, and your thumb against the ringman. So you take your hook to do a slip knot. There are many ways to start off a slip knot, but here is what I do. I take my hook and I pull through. With my thumb still against my ring finger, I take another slip and I pull through. Releasing, with my thumb and my tall man, I fasten that. I now begin with doing a chain of 4. Make sure to not count the first slip knot. I begin the chain with chain 1, chain 2, chain 3, and chain 4. Here we will create a circle. We have now made 4 chains. We are going to join the tail of the chain to the 4th chain. Pull through, yarn over, pull through. The second double crochet will go through the same loop. Yarn over, through, yarn over. You have to keep pulling the tail so that you see that it stretches. If you make a mistake, you better remove the hook again so that when you go through, it won't look messy. So at the beginning, you'll find it quite difficult, or it's more of the toughest part of it. But once you get the hang of it and the circle widens, you're good to go all throughout. So now we have almost reached the first 3 chains that we have established. Now we have to connect it. That's not it. We are going to have to chain 3. So basically, if you look at it, we will chain 3 to make our corners and 3 also in each of the blocks. So we chain 1, 2, 3. We are going to do a slip knot to attach. So remember the first chain that you've done at the beginning of the circle. You will now have to find the first slip. So I've found mine. There. So this is called the attaching slip knot. At the end of the tree chain or the chain tree, you pull through that loop in and out. If you miss a thread, you have to pick it up again so it doesn't look messy at the end. We yarn over into the same space, pull through 2, pull through, yarn over and out. 2 more double crochets into the same space. So if you have been following through, you'll realize that the pattern just goes on and on. You chain 3 into a space, you do your 3 double crochets, then you chain 1 to the next space. So to end off, simply we're going to do a slip knot. And to do a slip knot is just attaching the last of your chain into the end of the adjoining shell or block. Find the end of it, push your hook through, pull through without getting any yarn. To start a new one, you pull right through. See there? It's connected. This is just the desired size that I wanted for my own cup. Snip these all off. This out, and the tail from the beginning, I also snip it out. Oh well, folks, we have come to the end of our show. From the hardworking team of House and Home and I, we wish you all a very pleasant evening and of course viewing, and may the remainder of the week be a productive one for you and your family. Till next time, please join us again, same place, same time, only on your #1 to watch, EMTV.
This program was brought to you by Telecom Limited and Colgate.